This is the summary of core principles of resurrection of Chapter 2 in the resurrection of people and eternal life from now on is our reality. I'm Stephen Walters. I'm a real human being, and this is my real human voice. Here are the summary of core principles of resurrection. 1.1. He who has not experienced death is the base, which reproduces everything else. God is such a base. God is eternal. He has never experienced death. Everything else follows from this fact. 1.2. Eternal life is the principle of development of divine reality. 1.3. Our consciousness perceives what exists in our consciousness as reality. 1.4. The structure of the world should intensively develop within the development of our own consciousness. 1.5. Resurrection is comprehension of true consciousness. 1.6. Eternal life conditions the necessity of the development of soul. 1.7. The principle of divinity, aspiration for imperishability of body, for eternal life, and for development of true consciousness is the practice of the uppermost flourishing of human existence. 1.8. It is sufficient to have one person who can resurrect and restore the world to ensure that it is not possible to destroy the world. 1.9. Resurrection and ascertainment of the fact of resurrection is a simultaneous for the entire world process. 1.10. Correct understanding of the correlation between the consciousness of man and his organs provides resurrection. Resurrection is an act of creation. 1.11. Development of man should be considered as a complex development of the entire existing world. 1.2. The principle of the resurrection correlates with the principle of man's organization, which takes into account all-time development of the entire external world. 1.13. Grief, despondency, and nostalgia are not the way to perceive the world. Only joy, light, and love are the way to comprehend the world. 1.14. Personality remains intact after biological death, including cremation cases. In this last case, each particle of the ash received after cremation is connected to the structure of personality of that one who is cremated. 1.15. Space depends on where different time intervals intersect. As a result of that, the Earth can be increased in size. Part 2. 2.1. Man is an eternal substance by the principle of his creation. That is why resurrection is based on revealing the eternal in man. 2.2. There is interdependence between the spiritual and physical structures. By changing the information on the physical structure in the sphere of the spirit, we can change the spirit to the level when it will be able to change any physical structure, as well as to create a physical body. 2.3. Time and space do not limit the duration of life. The concept of duration of life is formed by the relation of the spirit to space and time. 2.4. The principle of immortality, and therefore the principle of restoration, regeneration after a possible biological death, is embodied in the primordial cause, in the primordial nature of impulses of man's natural development. 2.5. An impulse aimed towards the resurrection is always aimed towards the infinite evolution of the one being resurrected. 2.6. The one being resurrected always sees and is aware of the resurrection process, and he always actively participates in it as an initiative person. 2.7. The one being resurrected always knows for a fact that after the resurrection, he will live as a normal person. 2.8. The one being resurrected always thinks that the living one will treat him as equal. He does not feel separated from the living in any way, and he feels like a normal person, no different from the living. 2.9. After the resurrection, it is necessary to provide some guidance to the resurrected one, explaining his new state, attributable to the fact that now he has a physical body. 2.10. A resurrected person fully retains his professional and other skills acquired earlier in life. 2.11. The concept of spirit provides the truth of the structure of cognition. 2.12. One of the aspects of resurrection is restoration of creative consciousness of living people. 2.13. The resurrection process should be regarded at the same time as a process of reproduction of a fetus as well. 2.14. The spiritual development of the gone ones does not stop. Personal spiritual development always continues at all times. Therefore, at spiritual level, the resurrection is understood as the manifestation of the universal world harmony, and that is precisely why, on the spiritual level, all people know that the universal resurrection of the gone ones is to come. Part 3. 3.1. Aspiration of God and man for unity within recreation and reunion results in materialization and resurrection. 3.2. Concentration by man of his own consciousness might result in a radical change of the world structure. 3.3. Physical body is always a part of the soul. 3.4. Both theoretically and practically, man can be regarded as a structure of consciousness that has a body shell. 3.5. At the level of creation of information connections, no object overlaps with any other external object, including itself. The principle of resurrection of man, or the principle of restoration of any object, is in the overlapping of initial information about the object with the developing information about itself in the area of the effect relations, which appear in the course of creation of information. 3.6. The system of spiritual views of that one who practices resurrection is exactly the principle of society organization at the subsequent stages of its development. 3.7. Distant objects of reality are what is approached for the resurrected and removed for the living. 3.8. The resurrected absolutizes space and details time. During the initial period, time is discrete for him, while for the living one, time is continuous. 3.9. The principle of autonomy of information functioning within different times. 3.10. True religion is aimed at promoting the creative development of soul, body, and society. 3.11. Resurrection is the most real, the most pragmatic, the most rational, and the most convincing basis for the consequent development, for development of thinking of the generations to come. 3.12. The living one, who has not experienced death, can always regenerate, restore the gone one within a shorter, more optimal time, and as a more desired option than the resurrected one can. 3.13. The practice of resurrection, the practice of restoration, regeneration is not contrary to any religion, to any law, nor to any creative trend. 3.14. The resurrection of people makes it possible to resurrect and restore any objects. Part 4. 4.1. Resurrection is control of the entire external space. 4.2. Man is the entire external and internal world simultaneously. 4.3. Time dilation, its removal or approaching, means resurrection for some aspects of space. 4.4. What man thinks, what he says, and what he does is of eternal nature. 4.5. The principle of eternity. It gives the gone ones an insight into the fact that they will be restored, regenerated. 4.6. Movement of the gone ones around their country of life, magic for our understanding, actually is realized through the structure of our consciousness. 4.7. Changes of geographical landscape resulting from earthquakes or from split-off of big rocks during avalanches lead to genetic and structural changes in man, because man reacts to the entire space. This is the end of Chapter 2 of Grigori Grabovoi's The Resurrection of People and Eternal Life from Now On is Our Reality.